Hi, good morning. This is video log entry 127. I always forget. Yeah, 127, and currently it is about 10 a.m. CST. So I was thinking about getting, like I said before, I was thinking about getting a book on classical field theory, and I think the best one is supposedly Lorentz. Not the best, but it's like one of the more classical ones, classical field theory. But yeah, I believe I just don't see it. Where is it at? Or is it on under Lawrence? I thought there was one under there. They have a lot of ones, but let's see. I guess I thought I found something pertaining to it that involved Lorentz. Somebody said, "Oh, Landau." My bad. I was thinking about Lorentz transformation, so I guess that's probably the reason why it's Landau and Lifshitz. I remember having a book on Lifshitz before. I don't even know how to spell that. Yes, Lifshitz. So, classical field theory. Or, it's called The Classical Theory of Fields. My bad. They have a volume 1 and a volume 2. Oh, yeah, I've seen this before. I was thinking about getting it one day, and I guess I may have just forgotten that I wanted that book. So that looks interesting. So I mean, like, I've just been, this is typically what happens is I start thinking about things, and then I have to, like, I think it's a good framework to work off of when you start thinking about certain things. Instead of being guided by books, you're guiding it's like seeing it as a project, like as a, a program or whatever. It's like you don't just read books, but you also happen to have big projects, and you happen to have books to supplement those projects to kind of, help out with maybe your understanding, or a project. I when I was younger, I used to do the opposite. I was guided by books, and I wasn't really quote unquote guiding the books. I don't know, or just like kind of using them as what they're actually meant for, especially big textbooks, and especially if you're in a more technical field. You're not just going to read through a textbook and expect to absorb all of the knowledge, of course. Also, you have photographic memory. People like that do exist, but yeah. So I've been doing that more often. It helps out with my curiosities and all that. So for some reason, I want to get back into, I guess, quote unquote physics, or just understanding the reality a little bit more, but from a mathematical framework. I mean, I just like math. So I'm on Amazon right now, and I'm looking at, where's the table of contents? How do you show the table of contents? There, actually, I don't think they have that. That would be nice if they actually had like just a little table of contents section for books on the page, but it's cool. I mean, they have the synopsis, that contains even 7 new sections with chapters on general relativity, gravitational waves, and relativistic cosmology. Oh God, relativistic cosmology. You see, I don't know. There's something about relativity that really just fucks with my head sometimes, and I actually avoided it. My courses I took in college and when I was younger, and I kind of like knew about relativity from a postulating mathematical standpoint, but like having to wrap it around a philosophical framework sounds really confusing, and maybe there just isn't a way. It's just I know that's why I have trouble with school at times, because people just kind of it's kind of getting you up to speed with all the information you have to know for more philosophically oriented topics and whatnot, right? I mean, based most fields, obviously fields become a philosophy because new ideas need to be generated after a while, and so it can like evolve, of course. So Landau and Lifshitz, of course, are physicists. I actually don't know of any really big ideas from both Landau and Lifshitz. I can't really, like, when I think of them, I just think about this book. I don't really have anything that I've read from physics that pertains to them, which is interesting. So let's see if we did. What did they really study in physics? Like, what were their big contributions? I kind of Oh, right, I forgot about him. Yeah, he was definitely. When I see his face, I know he's done stuff in probably. And he definitely did stuff in quantum theory, at least. Yeah, it was during the revolution of quantum theory. 1960 is when he died. He was born in 1908. Oh yeah, why do they call it a density matrix? I know people have talked about matrices with quantum mechanics, but not density matrix. I guess it's a good way to encapsulate that. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I've never had to use matrices for. Oh wait, no, I have done that actually. I've seen that in one of my courses, but vaguely remember it. But what is diamagnetism? Oh, and he actually worked with John von Neumann. That's cool. Density matrix. Yeah, they talk about superfluidity, which is probably pertaining to high energy particle physics or high energy physics. Second order phase transitions. I don't even know what that is. Phase transitions. Invention of, there are a lot of things that I'm unfamiliar with because my knowledge of physics is, again, kind of spattered. It's definitely not specialized. And I took I've taken a course in quantum mechanics, but I've never taken a course in quantum field theory, so even my knowledge of quantum field, I have a book in it, and I've read some of it, but I definitely don't know as much as I'd like to in quantum field theory. Apparently he's done a lot of stuff. He's worked with John von Neumann in quantum mechanics, something to do with the density matrix, I don't know, superfluidity, so high energy particle physics, a lot of that. Superconductivity. Fermi liquids. I know what superconductivity is. I think, my understanding of superconductivity is basically conductivity without the resistance of particular materials. So you can actually bring down certain materials down to a level where electricity doesn't transmit heat out into its environment, essentially. And it has some weird properties. I've seen videos of it. Of course, since this material is conducting, if there's electricity going through, then it's obviously going to have a magnetic field that is kind of tied to that as well. So, I think. Well, it had to be alternating. I forgot that it's changing electric fields, inducing a changing magnetic field and whatnot. And I think, So, but it has some interesting properties with super. I had to look into that. I'm not sure about all of that, but he's done plasma physics. He already talked about superfluidity, so I don't know what a Landau pole is, but it has to do with something in quantum electrodynamics. Okay. He's done stuff with I've heard of it, S matrix before, but I don't know what it is. I've just heard of a lot of these things. I just don't really have a deep understanding of most of them. So, I have a lot to keep myself busy with. Lifshitz as well. I had to look at Lifshitz on Wikipedia. Before I get a book, I usually like to look at the history of these authors and what their contributions were and whatnot, and maybe it'll help out with the context of understanding what they were trying to say in these books and whatnot. So it's I think it's a good way of. His name is Evgeny Lifshitz. That's his name. Russian. I think Landau was also Russian, of course. They made a book together. They have to be. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, maybe this was 1950 to 1985. This was close to the Cold War as well. So probably that was the reason why they made the book together, as opposed to other people against communism, like America. So I mean, obviously, during that era, it would be considered to be heresy to collaborate with people outside of their culture. So, wait, what? His is so much shorter. Lifshitz. Is this even the person I'm thinking of? Soviet physicist. Okay, he's an ambitious user. Okay. It's definitely, Landau has a Wikipedia page that's a lot more verbose than Lifshitz. Lifshitz only has a work section. They don't even have a section pertaining to like what contributions he made. It's very vague. It says that he is literally in the work section. It said that okay, so he helped out with a Casimir force. I've heard of that, the Casimir effect. Casimir effect is a microscopic effect pertaining to actually putting the like plates in a vacuum, and they still happen to come together because well, okay, sure, you can think about like they were neutrally charged plates, so the only thing is potentially gravity, but they also calculate gravity. Then there was some outside force that was pushing them together or some shit like that, and that outside force was considered to be the Casimir force, pertaining to the Casimir effect, because they're not explaining it, so they gave it another force. And this force apparently, I think, has to do with like they call it the quantum foam and whatnot. Yep. So wow, yeah. So his biography's not really that verbose at all. Oh well, they do have biographies about him, but they don't, like the work section on here is very vague. There's really nothing about him on there. That's unfortunate. Wait, did they even? I don't think they even had a picture of him. Oh no, they did. Wait, no. Well, the Wikipedia page doesn't even have a picture of him. Oh wait, this is the Lifshitz that they're talking about. It's Ilya Lifshitz. Why didn't you just show this to me? He was also Russian, Ukrainian. What? This one's also really short. They don't have much about him on here. Oh, he was born in Kharkiv, Ukraine. Kharkiv. Is that capital of Ukraine? Kharkiv. Second largest city in Ukraine. Yeah. Okay, so he's done a lot of work on quote-unquote solid state physics. Solid state. I guess that's the opposite of high energy particle physics, because high energy particle physics tends to deal with a lot of fluids, basically, because it's like it's plasma, right? Kind of like when you haven't. I mean, you guys would understand. I hope. Matter has different phases and whatnot. Plasma is one of them. It's considered to be the fourth one. And plasma actually has a lot of interesting qualities that, well, obviously high energy particle physicists are still trying to understand. What is a Fermi surface? What the hell is this? Oh, it's a spinless ideal Fermi gas. Okay, good to know. They call it Fermi direct statistics. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is beyond me. I'd have to get myself back into physics to understand even half of this stuff. It's still interesting though. Perturbation theory. Yeah, that's that deals with quantum physics. I don't remember the exact. Perturbation theory is applied mathematics. Approximate solution to a problem. Started with the exact solution of a related simpler problem. I don't know how that would work. I mean, you could actually probably, I don't know. I the only thing that can come to mind is something that could be close to perturbation theory is, oh god, there was something called Euler's method. There was like Euler's method. They also had Newton's method for differential equations that you can't really find a direct, that you have to create an approximate or computational method for it and whatnot, because you can't find a analytical solution to it would be the best way to say it. Okay, so you could probably use it. It's represented by a power series, which is non-closed, which means it would have to require infinite computation, and you could probably find a pattern pertaining to a power series that's not closed, infinite power series. That's understandable. Yeah, and like I said, it's used in quantum field theory and quantum mechanics. So I could have actually shown my screen, but I don't feel like doing that right now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of like trying to refamiliarize myself with physics in general because I kind of want to study it more. I actually don't really feel like programming. I'd rather do this. It's a lot more interesting to me. But well, I don't know. My brother's more into programming, but I like this a lot more. So this only got 114 reviews. Obviously, that is probably pretty normal for anything pertaining to math or physics. A lot of people don't like math and physics. Somebody says clear, concise, and brilliant. Yeah, okay. I kind of want the physical book of this. I think I'd be using it a lot. Yeah. Anyways, ever since I talked about like trying to implement field theory and whatnot to my understanding of the world and how I'd like to maybe encapsulate it into reality to some degree, I haven't really thought of it above like creating a quote unquote, I guess, a set theoretic approach, which is good and whatnot. I was also looking at maybe potential pitfalls of these fields and whatnot, and why they can be troublesome to some degree. And I mean, I've heard of a lot of like having to deal with singularities is obviously a big thing. I mean, black holes in space-time, of course, is one of them. And of course, black holes are close to. Actually, black holes are interesting. There's a certain, again, like this is also very interesting. So when you think about the, you could think of like epsilon naught, mu naught, or the tension factor. The tension factor is so strong can only be so strong. So obviously, when you think the idea of something puncturing space-time, that would obviously occur because there's also a tension factor pertaining to it. Or a strength factor. I'd like to think of it as a strength factor. Like it's, again, like a blanket, and there's only so much force you can put before it punctures it. Well, it's hard to do with your finger because it's like the way it distributes the blanket is there's a pressure, so it's hard to. But when you have a more precise point with that force, it's still the same force, but the more precise point would kind of like focus the force more to, as opposed to having multiple forces acting on multiple contact points and whatnot. So so puncturing probably can happen on these fields that we talk about, like in electrodynamics, or probably ways in which maybe not. Maybe you can't really find a way to do that in the physical world that we live in, but it theoretically is possible. It's just like we haven't done that yet. I don't think. I wouldn't know. Or at least it maybe happened in other places of reality that we we just couldn't see. I don't know. Like somewhere out in the ether realms and stuff. So yeah, theoretically, yeah, it's if black holes do that, then obviously, even if you don't even have to think about black holes doing that, just by the mathematical framework that I'm using, that can happen. Now, for fields, again, I'm getting that book on classical field theory because there's a lot of complicated dynamics that can't be analytically devised, but they are, again, quote-unquote perturbation methods that they use, like I said. Apparently, they use perturbation methods with infinite power series. And then they can be kind of like close. They can be computed through that method, and it's just a computational method. It's just a computational method because, again, we can't. The dynamics of fields they're just so complicated that yeah, I mean, even like the simplest solution is a partial differential equation, the mechanical wave, or whatever you want to call it. The simplest possible thing that you can create with these waves is creating what I've been doing is basically, but also you can think of just a particle just sitting there still, and you can think of it as space-time if you want to think about it like that, just sitting there in that field, and it creates that very simplistic effect. But then when you start adding spin, and you start adding movement to it, and spin and movement, and then not only that, there are other particles in the field that are there too, affecting each other, and you have to think about the superposition of all the waves, and it's just it gets complicated pretty quickly. Yeah, and then not only that, there's it's embedded. Well, how we see it is embedded in 3 dimensions, and the 4th dimension is time and whatnot. But again, yeah, it's complex, very complex. And I actually don't know of the more complex mathematical representations of, especially 3-dimensional fields. I only know of I don't even remember like how the mechanical wave was devised, but it was through tension and whatnot, and by pulling it up and down, it tended to have like a resultant. Well, there was a force, and then eventually so basically, maybe you can think of it as like, when you pull it up, you have a force. So there's an initial force, but then it takes a while for the tension force to equate to that force going. Right. Yeah, one goes this way and then the other goes that way. So it's like kind of like that, but it starts out going this way, I believe, and it's down at an angle though. So that kind of makes sense, right? And that's why you get a resultant force going that way, or resultant velocity after there's, I guess, maybe a very minor, at least how I think of it as, is I think of it as like a minor delay. The reason, if it were instantaneous, then yeah, you wouldn't gain any force because, or you wouldn't gain any velocities because there was no change in velocity to begin with. Is obviously acceleration, which retains a force. So there was a force acted upon in that direction before the reactive. You can think of it as a reactive force. Stops it from changing too much, and then that velocity, that's how the velocity occurs. And the cool thing is that the velocity is constant when it comes to that, no matter how fast you do it. Now, I don't know how to think of that intuitively. Actually, don't know how to think of that intuitively. Because when you move it up faster, it's moving faster, but also the reactive force is moving just as fast. So maybe that you could think of it as also there's a change of force too, because actually we don't have to think about a change of force. No, we don't have to think about a change of acceleration. It's a resultant acceleration constant. It's not instantaneous, obviously. You can't do that. I mean, maybe you can think of it like that, but yeah, we don't have to think about infinitesimals. But yeah, it's just kind of makes sense to me intuitively to a degree. I mean, like I maybe also another thing is that I don't think the dt is, or delta t is there's this delta t involved with the emergence of the vector, force vector, versus the other. So it's interesting. It's just the magnitude is higher, but actually that's what makes sense. Is that the dt, the scale, there's an inverse proportionality between the delta t and the acceleration. The acceleration is faster, but the acceleration is higher, force is higher, but the dt goes down, which is why you get the same resulting force. Or you get the same resultant force, of course, but you also get the velocity is the same. I think it would have to be that. So, I mean, that's interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. I haven't thought of it like that before, but then you can I don't feel like doing partial differential equations, man. I don't know why. I asked my dad to give me my books on all that stuff too, just to kind of brush off my shoulders a little bit when it comes to mathematics, because math is not easy for anybody, most people. Even the most gifted people have to practice the mathematics, obviously, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time even for them. So it's not an easy subject. Now, the reason why it's not an easy subject is because, well, it's a very, I would say that mathematics happens to be a very, it's trial and error mainly. Most of it's trial and error and just learning from your mistakes, really, because, well, obviously we don't have infinite intelligence. We can't really, the mind doesn't know how to not work off of trial and error. Like even the smartest people on the planet use trial and error. But even then, the only reason that makes them smarter is the fact that they're considered to be more creative, and their logical fallacies working off of those quote unquote creations tend to work faster. They process they process information faster, and they also happen to have a higher reasoning capacity for the most part. So I mean, of course, there are more other things, like if you want, you could think of like raw intelligence and like the actual memory and working memory and the capacity of working memory in the mind, that it tends to be higher than others, and processing speed. Of course, yes, you can add that to raw intelligence and whatnot, but aside from that, the smartest people on the planet tend to have a higher creative capacity, and they're also higher creative and logical capacity. It's both. It's a nice balance between the two, and even then, it's still working off of the same functions that any other human is working off of, but just a lot faster. Essentially, it's just it's like a Commodore versus a I don't know, like the newest supercomputer, some shit like that. I don't know. Okay, maybe that that is not a good analogy, because that difference is obviously not. It doesn't reflect the difference in humans and whatnot. It's not that bad, but you know what I mean. I hope you guys understand the explanation that I'm giving right now. But so. I can't wait to get my book. I mean, I haven't ordered it yet, so I guess I should do that. And I'm just gonna sit around today. Oh, I also have another interview over at the parks, and this happens to be at a park closer to my home. And it doesn't seem bad. Actually, it's like a small building. It has a few fields for, like, I think they have a baseball field and maybe a football field. I don't know. It's a pretty big park, and it has a nice small building during the winter and whatnot, and it's part-time, and I'm considering it, if the other job that I kind of want to have more than that one, because it's in another neighborhood that's nice, and I can just bike there. It'll be like a 5 to 10 minute bike ride as opposed to a 21-minute bike ride, and not only that, it's an inside job. I'm not cleaning bathrooms, and it happens to be quote-unquote more fulfilling. Of course, it would depend on who I'm working with and whatnot. And another thing is the person that communicated with me about the interview that I was supposed to have, what was it, 2 days ago? Or was it 3 days ago at this point? 2 days ago, Tuesday. They had a family emergency, so they said that they don't know when they're coming back, so they said that they'll communicate to me with a new date to have my online interview with them. So I'm still kind of waiting, which is fine. Like, I'm fine with waiting, and I don't think it's going to take that long, hopefully, fingers crossed. And then my other interview is going to be early November. So yeah, I have a lot of options, and I'm trying to just take it, again, one day at a time. I'm not working my ass off too hard, and now I'm putting my energy in things that I find to be more interesting than having a career. And yeah. I don't know what else to talk about right now, so I think I'll just cut it off, since I can't stop thinking about getting my books back again, because I have a few from home that I want. Well, I did ask for what I asked for. I asked for partial differential equations. I had an ordinary differential equations book that has basically everything that I need. I asked for linear algebra because it doesn't hurt to have a just a synopsis of what I did in the past. And what else did I ask for? Quantum field theory, of course. And yeah, I think that's all I asked for. Let me see. Oh, so I think today's Halloween, isn't it? Oh yeah, that's for chaos and nonlinear dynamics. And general relativity, just in case, because I don't know. I've been avoiding general relativity like the plague. Just general, just general, just relativity in general. Not Galilean relativity. That doesn't mess with my head, but Einsteinian relativity does. Even though I've already talked about it and all that, but yeah. Yep. Anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.